I never thought I would be afraid of my own son's wife. But there I was, sitting in their guest room.
The door was closed.
The lights were off, and I was holding a pillow against my chest so no one would hear me cry. I am 68 years old. I have buried a husband. I have raised 2 children alone. I have survived cancer once and a broken hip twice. I thought I had survived everything life could throw at me, but I was not prepared for her. My daughter-in-law. The woman my son promised to love forever. The mother of my only grandchild. The woman who looked me in the eyes at her wedding and said, "I promise to treat you like my own mother." She said those words, and I believed her, because I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her. You see, I lost my daughter when she was 19.
A car accident.
A rainy night. A driver who never saw the stop sign. That was 14 years ago, and the pain never really leaves. It just settles. Like dust on a shelf. You wipe it away, but it always comes back. When my son Michael married Priya, I thought, finally, a daughter again. Someone to cook with. Someone to laugh with. Someone to hold my hand when I am old and scared. But life does not always give you what you hope for. Sometimes, life gives you a daughter-in-law who smiles at you in front of everyone, but makes you invisible when no one is watching. This is my story. It is not a story of anger. I am not angry anymore. Anger is too heavy for these old shoulders. This is a story of confusion, of sadness, of a grandmother who just wanted to be loved and a daughter-in-law who could not let her in.
Pull up a chair, dear.
Let me tell you what happened. And maybe, by the end, you will understand why I finally stopped knocking on a door that was never going to open. Let me start at the beginning. Not the sad beginning. The happy one. My son Michael was always a gentle soul. When he was 5 years old, he found a baby bird that had fallen from its nest. He carried it home in his cupped hands, so carefully, like it was made of glass. "Mama," he said, "we have to help her." We built a little nest in a shoebox. We fed that bird with an eyedropper every 2 hours. Michael slept next to that box for 2 weeks. The bird lived. And when it flew away, Michael cried for 3 days. That is my son. Soft heart. Soft hands. Too soft for this hard world. When he grew up, he became a teacher.
History.
High school. The teenagers loved him because he never yelled. He never shamed them. He just listened. I was so proud of him. Every mother wants her child to be happy. And Michael was happy. But he was also lonely. He dated a few girls here and there. But no one lasted. He would call me after a breakup and say, "Mama, maybe I am meant to be alone." I would tell him, "No, baby. Your person is out there. You just haven't found her yet." And then he found Priya. She worked at the school too. A teaching assistant. Special education. Michael said she had the most patient voice he had ever heard. She worked with children who could not speak, and she never gave up on them. When he first described her, I thought, this woman is an angel. He brought her to meet me on a Sunday in spring. The azaleas were blooming in my front yard. I made a pot of gumbo. I wore my favorite blue dress, the one your father said, made my eyes look like the sky.
The doorbell rang.
I opened the door. And there she was. Priya. She was smaller than I expected.
Thin.
Dark hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. She wore no makeup. Just a simple yellow sweater and jeans. But her eyes. Oh, her eyes were beautiful. Large.
Dark. Deep.
Like she had seen things. Like she understood pain. "Mrs. Eleanor," she said. "Michael talks about you so much. I feel like I already know you." She hugged me. A real hug. Not the stiff, polite kind. The kind where you feel the other person's heartbeat. I almost cried right there on the porch. Dinner was wonderful. She helped me in the kitchen. She did not just sit in the living room like other guests. She stood next to me at the stove. She asked me about the gumbo recipe. She asked me about my husband. She asked me about my daughter. Not everyone asks about my daughter. People are afraid to bring her up. Afraid of making me sad. But Priya asked. Softly. Gently. What was her name? Lily, I said. Her name was Lily. Tell me about her, Priya said.
So I did.
I told her about Lily's laugh, about how she loved to dance in the rain, about how she would steal my lipstick and pretend to be a movie star. Priya listened, really listened. Her eyes did not wander. She did not check her phone. She just stood there, stirring the gumbo, letting me talk. When I finished, she put her hand on mine. Lily is lucky, she said. She had a mother who remembers her. That is the greatest gift. I loved her from that moment. I loved her completely. The wedding was 6 months later.
Small.
In my backyard, under the same oak tree where Michael used to play, Priya wore a simple white dress.
Nobal.
Just flowers in her hair. During the ceremony, she looked at me, and she winked.
She actually winked at me.
I cried. Of course I cried. After the wedding, they bought a little house, 25 minutes from mine. Close enough, not too close. I respected their space. I did not visit unannounced. I did not call every day. I knew that young couples needed their privacy. But I also made sure they knew I was there. If they needed anything, a meal, a babysitter, a shoulder. For 2 years, everything was good. Better than good. We had Sunday dinners. We celebrated holidays together. Priya started calling me Mom. Not Michael's mom. Just
Mom.
I thought, God has blessed me. I lost one daughter, but I gained another. Then the pregnancy. Priya was nervous. She had always been nervous about having children. She told me once that she was afraid she would not be a good mother, that she did not know how to love the right way. I told her, the fact that you are worried about being a good mother, that means you already are one. Bad mothers don't worry. They don't think about it at all. She smiled, but the worry stayed in her eyes. The pregnancy was hard. She was sick almost every day. She lost weight instead of gaining it. Michael was scared. I was scared too. I offered to help. Let me come over, I said. Just to clean, just to cook. So you can rest.
She said yes.
But she said it slowly, like she was agreeing to something she did not really want. I should have noticed that. I should have asked her, are you sure? Do you really want me there? But I did not ask. I was too excited, too eager to be needed.
Ipexabeg.
I told myself I would stay for 2 weeks.
Just until the baby came.
Just until Priya felt better. I ended up staying for 4 months. And those 4 months changed everything. The music deepened slightly. A cello joins the piano. A feeling of walking into a shadow. Visual cue. A suitcase being placed on a bed. Rising conflict. The first week was fine. The second week was fine. The third week things started to feel different. I cannot tell you exactly when it changed. It was not one moment. It was 1,000 small moments. Each one so tiny that if I looked at it alone, I would think I was imagining things. But together they made a wall. It started with the kitchen. I am an early riser. Always have been. Even as a child, I liked the quiet of the morning, the way the light looked before the world woke up. So every morning, I would get up at 6 a.m. I would make a pot of coffee. I would make breakfast.
Eggs. Toast.
Sometimes pancakes, if I had time. The first morning, Priya came into the kitchen and said, "Oh, you didn't have to do that." I said, "I wanted to, dear. You need your rest." She smiled. She ate the eggs. She said they were good. The second morning, she came in and said nothing. She just sat down. I put a plate in front of her.
She ate.
By the 5th morning, she started to make comments. "You use too much salt," she said one day. "I'm sorry," I said. "I'll use less tomorrow." The next day, she said, "The eggs are runny." The day after that, she said, "We don't really eat white bread. It's not healthy." I stopped making toast. Then it was the cleaning. I vacuumed the living room. Priya came in and said, "You missed a spot." I apologized. I vacuumed again. I washed the dishes. She said, "The sponge you used is for the bathroom. There is a separate sponge for the kitchen." I did not know that. She had never told me. "I'm sorry," I said. "I didn't know." She sighed. A small sigh. But I heard it. "You didn't know," she repeated, like she was talking to a child. That phrase. You didn't know. It became her favorite phrase. If I put the baby's clothes in the wrong drawer. You didn't know. If I gave the baby a bath at the wrong temperature.
You didn't know.
If I sang a lullaby she did not like. You didn't know. Every day, a small correction. A small reminder that I was not doing things right, that I did not belong there, that I was a guest who had overstayed her welcome. But here is the confusing part, the part that still makes my head spin. When other people were around, Priya was different. On Sundays, we went to church. In the parking lot, she would hold my arm. She would introduce me to her friends. This is my mother-in-law, Eleanor. She is such a blessing. She came to help with the baby. I don't know what I would do without her. Her friends would look at me with admiration. You are so lucky, they would say to Priya. My mother-in-law never helps. And Priya would squeeze my hand. She would look at me with those dark eyes, full of warmth. I know, she would say. She is the best. Then we would drive home. The car ride was 20 minutes. And by the time we walked through the front door, the warmth was gone. The door would close, and the air would change. It was like living with two different women. The public Priya, who loved me, and the private Priya, who tolerated me. I tried to talk to Michael about it. One night, after the baby was asleep, I found him in the garage. He was organizing tools. He liked to organize things when he was stressed. Michael, I said, can we talk? He looked up. Sure, Mama. What's wrong? I hesitated. I did not want to sound like I was complaining. I did not want to be the difficult mother-in-law. Is Priya okay? I asked. With me being here, I mean. He put down the screwdriver. What do you mean? I don't know, I said. Sometimes she seems frustrated with me, like I am in the way. Michael sighed. He rubbed his face with his hands. Mama, she is just tired. The pregnancy is hard. She is not frustrated with you. She is frustrated with the situation. Are you sure? I am sure, he said. Just give her space. Don't take things personally. Don't take things personally. Those words are like a knife to a mother's heart, because everything is personal. Love is personal. Home is personal. Family is personal. But I nodded. I smiled. I said, you are right, baby. I am just being sensitive, and I went back inside. I washed the dishes. I wiped the counters. I went to my room. That night, I heard them talking. Their bedroom was next to mine. The walls were thin. I did not mean to listen, but I heard Priya's voice. Low. Tired. Michael, your mother rearranged the spice cabinet again. She was just trying to help, he said. I don't need help, she said. I need my house back. There was a long silence. Then Michael spoke. What do you want me to do? I want you to talk to her, Priya said. I want you to tell her that we need space, that we need to be our own family. We are our own family, Michael said. She is not a stranger. She is my mother. I know who she is, Priya said.
Her voice was cold now.
Flat. But she is not the mother of this baby. I am, and I need to feel like I am in control of my own home. I pulled the blanket over my head. I pressed my hands against my ears, but I could still hear them. I heard Michael say, okay, I will talk to her. And I heard Priya say, good, because I cannot live like this anymore. I did not sleep that night. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the baby bird Michael had saved when he was 5. I thought about how he had slept next to that shoebox. How he had fed that bird with an eyedropper every 2 hours. How he had cried for 3 days when it flew away. I wondered if he would cry when I flew away, or if he had already learned to stop crying. The baby came early. 3 weeks early. Maya. 6 pounds, 2 ounces. A full head of black hair. And Michael's eyes. My Michael's eyes. When I held her for the first time, I felt my husband's presence in the room. I felt my daughter Lily's spirit. I felt the circle of life closing around me. I looked at Priya. She was exhausted. Pale. But she was smiling. A real smile. The first real smile I had seen from her in weeks. She is beautiful, I said. You did so well, dear.
Thank you, Mom, she said.
She called me Mom, not Eleanor.
Mom.
For a moment, I thought everything would be okay. I thought the baby would bring us together. I thought the hard part was over. I was wrong. The first few weeks after Maya came home were chaos. No one slept. The baby cried all night. Priya was healing from the birth. Michael was exhausted from work. I tried to help. I really did. I took the night shift so Priya could sleep. I would sit in the rocking chair with Maya in my arms. I would sing the old lullabies. The ones my mother sang to me. The ones I sang to Michael and Lily. Hush, little baby. Don't say a word. One night, Priya came out of her bedroom at 2 a.m. She stood in the doorway, watching me. You are singing again, she said. I stopped. I am sorry. Did I wake you?
No, she said.
I could not sleep anyway. She walked into the living room.
She sat on the sofa across from me.
She looked at me holding her daughter. And her face was strange, hard to read. You hold her a lot, she said. She likes to be held, I said. Babies need to feel safe. I am her mother, Priya said. I should be the one holding her.
You are, I said.
You are her mother. No one can take that from you.
She did not respond. She just sat there,
staring at me, staring at Maya in my arms. Then she said something I will never forget. Sometimes I wonder if you wish she was Lily's baby, not mine. I froze. My heart stopped. Priya, I said.
No.
That is not true. I love Maya because she is Michael's daughter. And because she is yours. But you loved Lily more, she said. It was not a question. It was a statement. I loved Lily differently, I said. She was my daughter.
You are my daughter-in-law.
The love is different, but it is still love. Priya stood up. She walked to the rocking chair. She took Maya from my arms, not roughly, but firmly, like she was reclaiming something that belonged to her. I want to be alone with my baby now, she said. I stood up. Of course. Good night, dear. I walked to my room. I closed the door, and I sat on the edge of the bed. I did not cry. I just sat there. In the dark. I realized something that night. Something I did not want to admit. Priya did not see me as help. She saw me as competition. She was afraid that Maya would love me more. That Michael would listen to me more. That I was trying to replace her in her own family. And the more I tried to prove that I was not a threat, the more threatened she felt. There is a name for this. I learned it later. It is called a loyalty conflict. When someone feels like they have to choose between two people they love, and instead of choosing, they push one away. Priya was pushing me away, not because she hated me, but because she was scared. Fear does terrible things to people. It makes them cruel when they do not mean to be. It makes them cold when they want to be warm. I understood that. I really did. But understanding did not make the pain go away. The weeks turned into months. 2 months. 3 months. I stopped singing lullabies. I stopped holding Maya for too long. I stopped making breakfast. I stopped vacuuming. I stopped everything. I became a ghost in their house. I stayed in my room. I only came out when I was invited. And I was invited less and less. Michael noticed. One day, he came into my room. He sat on the bed next to me. Mama, he said. You are hiding. I am not hiding, I said. I am giving Priya space. Like you asked. I did not ask you to hide, he said. I asked you to give her space. There is a difference. Is there? I said. Because it feels the same to me. Michael looked at his hands. He looked so tired. So torn. Priya thinks you should go home, he said. His voice was barely a whisper. I nodded. I had been waiting for this moment, dreading it, but also almost relieved. When? I asked. She said by the end of the month, he said. She said she needs to learn how to be a mother on her own, without help. I looked at my son, this gentle boy who had saved a baby bird. This kind man who had become a teacher because he wanted to help children feel seen. Okay, I said. That is it, he said. You are not going to fight? What is there to fight for? I said. If I stay, she will resent me. If I go, she might miss me. Either way, I lose. Michael started to cry. Big, silent tears. The kind he cried when the baby bird flew away.
I am sorry, Mama, he said.
I am so sorry. I held him, like I held him when he was 5 years old. I stroked his hair. I whispered, "It is okay, baby. It is okay." But it was not okay. And we both knew it. I left on a Tuesday, the same day of the week I had arrived. I woke up at 5 a.m., before the sun, before anyone else. I packed my suitcase slowly,
Carefully.
I folded each piece of clothing like I was folding away a memory. The blue dress I wore the day I met Priya. The apron she had given me for Christmas. The photo of Maya I kept on the nightstand. I put everything in the suitcase. Then I looked around the room. The guest room that had been my home for 4 months. The bed was made. The curtains were open. The room looked exactly like it did before I came. I walked to the kitchen. I wrote a note. Not a long one. Just a few lines. Michael, I love you. I am proud of you. Take care of your family. I will be okay.
Mama.
I did not write a note to Priya. I had nothing left to say to her. Not because I was angry, but because I was tired.
So tired.
I called a taxi. An old habit. I do not use those phone apps. The taxi came at 6:15 a.m. The driver was a woman. Older. Gray hair. Kind eyes. Where to, sweetheart? She asked. I gave her my address. She looked at me in the rearview mirror. Long trip. 20 minutes, I said. Long enough, she said. And she smiled. As the taxi pulled away from the house, I looked back. I saw the bedroom curtain move. Someone was watching me leave. I think it was Priya. I think she stood there holding Maya, watching me go. I think she felt something. Relief, maybe. Or guilt. Or sadness that I will never know. Because I did not wave. I did not cry. I just turned around and faced the road ahead. The drive to my house was 20 minutes. I watched the trees pass by. I watched the sun rise over the rooftops. I watched the world wake up without me. When the taxi pulled into my driveway, I felt something I had not felt in months. Peace, not happiness. Not joy. Just peace. The kind of peace that comes from accepting something you cannot change. I paid the driver. I gave her a big tip. She helped me with my suitcase. Take care of yourself, sweetheart, she said. You too, I said. You too. I walked up the steps. The key was still under the flower pot. I unlocked the door. And I walked into the silence. The house smelled like dust and old memories. The clock on the wall had stopped. The plants on the windowsill were dead. The refrigerator was empty except for a jar of pickles and some mustard. I sat down on my old sofa, the one my husband and I bought 40 years ago. The one where Michael took his first steps. The one where Lily used to curl up and read books. And for the first time in 4 months, I cried. I cried for Michael, for the little boy who used to hold my hand crossing the street. I cried for Maya, for all the milestones I would miss. I cried for Priya, for the daughter I thought I had gained. I cried for myself, for the grandmother who became a stranger in her own son's house. I cried until there were no tears left, until my chest hurt, until the sun was high in the sky and my throat was raw. And then I stopped. I wiped my face. I stood up. I walked to the kitchen. I turned on the light. I filled a kettle with water. I put it on the stove. I made myself a cup of tea, just the way I like it. Strong. With a little honey and a splash of milk. I sat at my own kitchen table, in my own house, and I looked out the window at my garden. The garden was dead. The flowers had withered. The weeds had taken over. It looked exactly how I felt. But then I saw something. In the corner of the garden near the fence, a small yellow flower. A dandelion, maybe, or a wildflower. I do not know what it was, but it was growing. Alone. Unwatered. Unloved. But still growing. And I thought, if that little flower can grow, so can I. That was 2 years ago. A lot has changed. Some things have stayed the same. Michael calls me every Sunday. We talk for an hour. Sometimes longer. He tells me about Maya. She is 2 now.
She talks in short sentence.
She loves dinosaurs and bananas. She has Michael's eyes. My Michael's eyes. He does not talk about Priya.
And I do not ask.
Sometimes, Priya sends me a text. On my birthday. On Mother's Day. On Christmas.
Just a short one.
Happy birthday, Eleanor. No heart emoji. No love. Just the words. I always write back.
Thank you, dear.
Give Maya a kiss for me. It is not the relationship I dreamed of, but it is a relationship. And sometimes that is enough. I see Maya twice a year. Once in the summer, when Michael brings her to my house for a weekend. And once around Christmas. The last time she came, she ran into my arms. She wrapped her tiny hands around my neck. She said, "Grandma Ellie, I missed you." I said, "I missed you too, sweetheart." She pulled back and looked at my face. She touched my wrinkles. "Why do you have lines on your face?"
I laughed. "Those are from smiling," I said.
"And from crying. And from living." She nodded like she understood. Then she said, "Sing me the song. The one about the bird."
So I sang.
I sang the lullaby. And she fell asleep in my arms, just like her father used to do. For that 1 hour, I was whole again. Here is what I have learned. What I want you to take with you. Love is not always returned the way you give it. Sometimes, you pour your heart into someone and they cannot receive it. Not because you are not enough, but because they are too full of their own fear to make room for you. I do not hate Priya. I cannot hate her. She gave me my granddaughter. She makes my son happy. Or at least, she makes him feel less alone. And I have learned that I am enough. I do not need to be in that house every day to be a grandmother. I do not need to cook their meals to be a mother. I am still their family, even from far away. To any daughter-in-law listening to this, please be kind to the old woman. She is not trying to take your place. She is just trying to find her place. She is afraid of being forgotten, afraid of being useless. A little patience goes a long way. To any mother-in-law listening, let go. Before you are pushed, walk away with your dignity. Your peace is worth more than being right. You cannot force someone to love you, but you can choose to love yourself. And to anyone who feels invisible, you are not. You are the lullaby. You are the butter. You are the small yellow flower growing in the corner of a dead garden. You are still here. And that is a miracle. I am Eleanor. I am 68 years old. I live alone in a small house with a dead garden that I am slowly bringing back to life. The clock on the wall still does not work.
But I do not need it to.
I have learned to tell time by the sun. My heart is not broken anymore. It is scarred. But scars mean you survived. Thank you for listening to my story. If it touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. A daughter, a friend, another grandmother who feels alone. And remember, you cannot control how others love you, but you can always control how you love yourself. Now go make yourself a cup of tea. Put a little honey in it. And be gentle with your heart. You have earned it.